Yeah, dear colleagues, friends, great to give this scientific update at the UN World's Ocean Day. I want to give you just a rundown on the challenges humanity is facing, the fundamental role played by the ocean, the decisive future for humanity's dignity, prosperity, resilience, and stability for societies on planet Earth. We know today that we are deep into the Anthropocene. The exponential rise of human pressures on planet Earth, starting in the mid 1950s, we are today a geological force of change on planet Earth. The scale, the speed, and interconnectivity of pressures are unprecedented, and the ocean is what really makes us deeply worried today. You've probably seen this data, the off the charts observations. Just look at the red line, which is after 40 years of gradually increasing temperatures in the ocean, we suddenly see an off the chart several sigma event outside of the variability that has been experienced over this 50-year period of gradual but significant warming. And we cannot fully explain why is the ocean now so dramatically deviating away from the temperature rise we've seen over the past decades. And then look at the black line further to the left, how in 2024 it just continues rising. These are, in the colored lines here, the most recent warmest years. These are amplified El Nino years, but it is not enough to explain what is happening. We are worried that this may be first signs of an Earth system starting to lose its resilience. We know the impacts. The impacts are devastating across many of the marine ecosystems across the world. We have the fourth global bleaching event, 1998, 2010, 2016, which was before 2023, the warmest year on record. And the fourth global bleaching is what we're experiencing right now. Planet Earth's richest marine ecosystem, the Great Barrier Reef, has actually the fifth mass coral bleaching event over the last 8 years, with up to 50% of the entire system being so hard hit by frequent and amplified bleaching events that we are probably at a point of no return, meaning a tipping point for that system. This is evidence, and I could go on long with additional evidence showing with very high degree of scientific support that we are today at risk of destabilizing the state and the functioning of the entire Earth system. We must become stewards of the entire planet, and we know that the ocean is by far the dominating biological, physical, and chemical system on planet Earth. And we know that so much is at stake because this beautiful blue little marble has not always been in that stable state during the course of humanity's existence on Earth. We know this from paleoclimatic data. Here you have the last 400,000 years of Earth's journey through geological time. To the furthest left, you have the 1 million years of oscillation between 100,000 year deep ice ages and short warm interglacials. I call this today the corridor of life. The last 3 million years in the Quaternary has stayed within a narrow range of never exceeding, as far as we understand today, 2 degrees Celsius of warming compared to pre industrial temperatures, and deep ice age is in the order -5 to -6 degrees Celsius colder than the global mean surface temperature rise. Then we leave the last ice age, and you see how we enter then an even more narrow part of the life corridor. This is the last 10,000 years. The Holocene geological epoch is when we develop civilizations as we know it. And this part of the corridor of life is 14 degrees Celsius plus minus zero point 0.5, zero point 0.5, which just shows that we are already today well outside of the warmest temperature on Earth since we left the last ice age. And the take home message here is not only that planet Earth has provided us with this extremely stable conditions for ocean stability, um, freshwater stability, all the cycles of carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, biodiversity, ice sheets. We also know it's the resilience in the system, the biology, chemistry, and physics that has helped us to keep the planet in this stable interglacial equilibrium state. And here is the evidence. To the left, you have the global carbon budgets data on the global carbon cycle, and to the right is heat in the ocean. And what you see here on the left hand side is from 1850 until today, the hockey stick of rising carbon emissions. Gray is fossil fuel burning, orange is land use change. Is it all of this, the area under that curve, that has caused the warming on planet Earth so far? The answer is no, because in dark green you have the uptake of carbon in the ocean, in light green you have the uptake of carbon in intact nature on land, and it's the blue residual you see on the graph here, which is the carbon dioxide that has remained in the atmosphere, causing the climate crisis we're so deep in today. And you just look at that graph and you see, isn't this quite remarkable? The more we stress the system, the more the biogeochemical processes on Earth has actually dampened, reduced, and buffered the impacts of our stress. And this is correct. A healthy planet with a healthy ocean and healthy ecosystems on land has so far biogeochemically provided this remarkable subsidy to the global economy by absorbing over 50% each year of the carbon dioxide from our fossil fuel burning, the biggest subsidy to the global economy. To the right hand side, an equally remarkable, if not even more remarkable, biogeophysical dampening capacity, which is the 90% of heat absorbed in the ocean. So it may not be so surprising that the ocean is starting to misbehave after this century plus of uptake of heat by dampening the anthropogenic forcing on planet Earth. There is reason to be concerned because all of this leads to risks of crossing tipping points. We've mapped the 16 tipping point systems that contribute to regulate the climate system. What you see here is a subset of these uh, climate tipping element systems that have multiple stable states. Push them too far, and they can cross a tipping point. We have mapped these 16. Five of them are likely to cross their tipping points already at 1.5 degrees Celsius, and they are, many of them, very strongly ocean related. Of course, you have the ice sheets that release fresh water into the ocean. You have the Atlantic conveyor belt system with the AMOC, the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation System, which is connecting some of these tipping element systems. And that's what you see here on this map, how the Arctic region's tipping element systems are connected to the AMOC, which in turn is connected to the Amazon basin by releasing fresh water from ice melt, slowing down the AMOC, potentially pushing the monsoon further south, impacting on forest dieback due to higher frequency of droughts over the Amazon, but also locking in more warm, saline surface water in the Southern Ocean, which can explain the rapid melt, the more rapid than expected melt of the West Antarctic ice sheet. So here we have ocean conveyor belt systems connecting different tipping element systems, both in the biosphere and in the cryosphere. The ocean as a connector and as a regulator of the entire planet. This is why we need the planetary boundaries framework. And this has been developed over the past 15 years, science identifying the nine uh, processes and systems that contribute to regulate the state and the functioning of the Earth system, quantifying a safe operating space to be able to keep the planet as close as possible to a Holocene like interglacial equilibrium state. And the latest assessment, which you see on the screen here from 2023, shows that six of the nine planetary boundaries are outside of their safe space. And this is really worrying. We are deep in the climate crisis, and we are also undermining the resilience in the living biosphere and in the functioning and the ability of the Earth system to buffer the stress caused by climate change. What you see here is that the ocean, in our assessment, is still on the right side of the fence. But the worry is, which is where I started, we're starting to see early warning signs from an ocean that one can put question marks with regards to its capacity to continue taking all the pressures from all our overfishing, eutrophication, chemical loading, plastics, heat, carbon dioxide, with the ocean acidification that it causes. All of this together creates a very worrying sign of our need for action. And Naoko Ishii, who will be coming after me here, will be laying out, I'm sure, much more of the policy and governance challenges and directions ahead that are now needed for us to transform very rapidly back into being stewards of these global commons, where the ocean is, in my mind, the most important one for our future as humanity on planet Earth. So, with that, good luck with the deliberations today. Thank you very much.
Very good morning to everyone. Johan gives us a very alarming note from scientific point of view. Basically, he's saying that we were getting out of corridor of life. So far, oceans and planet Earth has been very kind to us human beings and absorbed a lot of shocks we have imposed on the planet system. But, as he said, oceans and Earth started to behave very, very differently. Signal is very clear. Enough is enough. Johan also gave us a big task for us to really think about. Then what can we do to govern the ocean as global commons? Why we say global commons? Because ocean, entire planet and human being has been benefiting from ocean, but nobody is really taking care of ocean. That's why that we have seen so much of the problem of the ocean. So what can we do to this problem? And also, what kind of policies we have to take? So today with you, I want to go through a few ideas. What can we do together? I have 3 points for you to really think about. The first point is we need a massive, radical, very comprehensive transformation of our economic system. Why I am saying that? Because what we have seen, not only in the ocean, but also the entire globe, is basically the clash of 2 systems, our human economic system and natural system. For so long, we humans have taken the Mother Earth very powerful, limitless, and vast, so we humans can do whatever we wanted and assume that they can really take it, take that pressure. But that is not the case any longer. We human activities, our economic system, have really, really put the pressure on the Earth system to its breaking point, and we cannot really continue like that. We have changed the planet system, we altered their system, and it's now our turn to change our system if we really want to continue to prosper on this beautiful Earth system. And with that, we cannot really take a piecemeal, fragmented approach here and there. We really need to think how we can collectively transform our economic system, because what we have seen in the ocean is also a kind of manifested of our activities on the land system. Here we go. This chart, we call it 4x4 matrix for system transformation. What are the key economic systems we need to transform? Here, we have energy transition, energy system for mostly climate change. But we also have a city system, because now more than half of the world population is living in cities, and it causes a lot of GHG emission. It really that then produce a lot of waste and going to the ocean. Then we have another important system, maybe this one, food system. Why food? As you may know, production of the food has caused 1/3 of GHG emission. It used 70% of fresh water, and it is a major reason why we are losing biodiversity so fast. And then it also that then use a lot of fertilizer and the nutrients going through river to the ocean. So we need to really find a way how to transform our food system to much more regenerative ones. Then this one, sustainable production and consumption. Our current economic system is very linear. We take the resources out of planet, we make it, and we waste it. And it's a very inefficient system. And we need to find a way how to make this system much more circular. So these are 4 systems we need to transform to safeguard our global commons, our ocean and our planet system. But what exactly can we do it? So our magic is this vertical column here with colored. The first one is how to set the target, how to set our vision. So that is more the vision pillar. The second one is more like an economic policy that then finance and incentive and maybe pricing. So that is the economic pillar. The third one, this blue one, is let us ensure our economic transition will be just and fair and inclusive. So that is an societal the pillar. Then the last one is slightly different dimension. It's technological progress, how to employ, how to deploy or leverage the ongoing progress on the technology. So the idea is we have 4 systems to be transformed, and this transformation can be ignited by those 4 action levers or enablers, and hopefully that the employ of all of them, we can have a very comprehensive and massive and radical transformation. I know many of you have been already doing a lot of work in ocean, maybe outside the ocean, but when you find your own place, either the sector or action levers, you see you are the very important part of this big picture. And when you continue to do your work, I hope each one of you can think about this bigger picture, so zoom out, then understand what is needed for system transformation, then go back and zoom in and continue to do your great work, but within this big comprehensive picture. So I know, we all know, ocean it's such an, has such a potential, but we haven't really tapped it yet. How we can really realize those potential benefits coming from the ocean, that's quite related to how we can ignite those 4 action levers. But today, I want to talk a little bit about the governance thing a minute later, but now I want to concentrate, focus on the second pillar. It's how we can change the economic metrics. Our economic system is a very strange one. That system doesn't really value our living nature. Let's think about standing forest. It has an enormous value to our living life-supporting system. But you don't see that living forest, standing forest is a big economic value unless the trees are chopped off and bring to the market. Then you see the economic value of the forest. Swimming fish, they don't maybe not have a big economic value. And unless and until they are caught and brought to the market, then you see that an economic value on it. Something is very strange, this economic system. Even if they are the important, very integral part of our life support system, but somehow our current economic system doesn't really account for this important part of the system. So one challenge for all of us is how we can change the economic system to find a way to value to the fullest account for this living nature so that our day-to-day action, the investment, consumption, whatever we take that in a day-to-day action can incorporate this value of living nature. And if we are able to do it, the beauty of this transformation is that now we are not only able to safeguard the natural system or natural capital, we should be able to reward the guardians of this valuing, living nature, be it smallholder farmers, fishermen's community, indigenous people, and local communities. They are the ones that safeguarding global commons or natural capital without even being paid, without being recognized. So my passion, and I hope that you could join us and help us, is how we can find the economic way to value a living nature. So that is my second point I want to keep in your mind. Now I'm going to my last point. That is actually about this, the vision side. And that is actually the most important action lever, and one of four. So what do we really mean by vision? Maybe a good example is Paris Climate Accord. In 2015, Paris Climate Accord was reached. Then we all know what happened, that many governments, many companies have taken it seriously and come up with a new target, new vision, new policies, new strategies, so that it really pushed that and changed our economic system. And it also ignites a lot of technological progress in decarbonization technology. So that's the power of consolidated vision that's shared by a lot of decision makers on the globe. Can we come up with the similar, the powerful shared vision for the ocean, so that each one of us can really see it as a North Star and create the collective action to support it? Right now, very unfortunately, in the ocean space, there are a lot of agreements and treaties are kind of scattered. I understand there are about 500 of them. But the good news is that, as the president already mentioned, there are some good treaties and agreements are coming up, and we need to consolidate them more and more and share it and shape it to the interest of the ocean. So important point is how we can create the consolidated and shared vision for the ocean. Then I'm going back to my first point. Let's consider how we can really promote that the massive, radical transformation of our economic system. The ocean definitely can be a part of that, but that is one important aspect on that, is how to value a living nature as a part of economic system transformation. And my last bullet point here, by doing that, we need to bring and we need to reward and acknowledge that the guardians of the local commons and doing a great job on the ground, how we can really link them up and elevate and reward and revamp their effort to support the global commons. That is the pathway I think we need to really look for together. And at this conference, we have scientists, we have world well-known explorers, we have a committed business, we have consumer and investors and global citizens and youth. With all of us in this room and outside this room, we should be able to chart the pathway to safeguard the global commons and ocean as our common home. And by doing that, I hope we can change the course and we can dictate our own future. Thank you so much.